Welcome everybody to the January 2025 TDL Member Forum. Happy New Year. Welcome to the new year and hope everybody had a really good and restful holiday break. I'm Christy Park. I'm the Executive Director of the Texas Digital Library. And as we gather in this shared virtual space, we'll start by acknowledging the physical places from which we join, all located on the indigenous lands of Turtle Island, the ancestral name for what is now called North America. I'm joining, as usual, from Austin in the Central Texas area, where the Tonkawa were among the traditional stewards of the land before their forcible removal. So I'll invite all of you to share your own land acknowledgements in chat. Tell us about where you're joining from if you'd like to. We'll go ahead and move on to our agenda. We'll follow the usual pattern. And I'm joined today by Courtney Muma, our Deputy Director, and Kiera Hunt, our Outreach Coordinator, in providing some updates. And thank you to Megan Hernandez for managing our slides today. Okay, first up, you may have seen the announcement in your inbox this week or last week that Texas Digital Library is marking its 20th anniversary this year, and we're inviting you to help us celebrate and reflect on this milestone. This anniversary marks 2 decades of community collaboration in support of open and community-supported infrastructure for open access, open data, open education, and digital preservation. And we're going to have a few opportunities for you to help us celebrate. First and foremost, in person at TCDL in May. But between now and then, by sharing your memories and reflections from your participation in anything TDL related over the years through our 20th anniversary reflection book, we'll be publishing that reflection book on our website, on social media, in other formats to commemorate this milestone and help us celebrate and reflect together. We'll share links in the chat where you can learn more and submit your reflections. And I want to invite everybody to share this with your colleagues and communities, maybe with folks who have participated in TDL in the past, but who've moved on to positions outside of the TDL membership. We would love to hear from them too as we mark this milestone, because they're a really important part of TDL's success and sustainability over time. Let's see, you can contribute to the reflection book through March 30th. So you have some time to think and reflect before you reflect with us. We're also extremely excited to announce our keynote speaker for TCDL 2025, who's Dr. Catherine Skinner. She currently serves as Director of Programs for Invest in Open Infrastructure, where she works to advance the adoption of and investment in open infrastructure in scholarly communication. She is an open knowledge researcher and activist with deep commitments to community building, organizational resilience, and systems thinking. She's also been a great colleague and friend to TDL over the years, and I cannot think of a better person to help us recognize our 20th anniversary and also help us think about the future of TDL and of our communities. We'll put a link in chat where you can learn more about Dr. Skinner, and I hope you're as excited as I am to hear from her in just a few months. Registration for TCDL will also open soon, so keep an eye on our website, on social media, and your inboxes for updates on that. But in the meantime, all the ticket rates are available on tdl.org, so you can plan ahead, and we'll put a link in chat where you can get all the details on that. If you have any questions, can always contact us at info@tdl.org, and we'll be happy to help you out. Kiera has a few more updates later on in the forum related to TCDL, specifically around the call for proposals and some other things going on, so stay tuned for those as well. But before we move into our services updates, I wanted to give you one final reminder of two new interest groups that are forming this month and want to encourage you to get involved. First is the Open Knowledge Interest Group, which held its first meeting last week, and it will be meeting monthly going forward. This is a community for exploring topics related to open access, broadly defined, um, and the ways that the principles of OA intersect with other flavors of open, like open science and open education. So they've decided to start a kind of read and discuss series of meetings in February focused on the Nelson Memorandum and the various federal agency policies for open access that memo has generated. So that's going to be a really, I think, important and fruitful discussion. And secondly, the TDL Harmful Content and Description Interest Group begins meeting this month. This group aims to help members mitigate harm and implement just and ethical practices in library and archives collections, and it will provide a venue for discussion and development of best practices around topics like addressing harmful content and language and implementing inclusive and reparative metadata practices. They will have their first meeting on January 28th and will be meeting quarterly, I believe. So we'll put some links in chat where you can learn more and join those email lists for those groups so that you can stay, informed about what they're up to. Participation in both of these groups is open to anyone regardless of membership in TDL. These are both interest groups as defined in our member group policy, which means they're member-led, member-driven opportunities to connect around, different affinities or topics or professional roles. And we're really grateful to Alexa Height and Elliot Williams, Carla Roig-Blay for stepping up to lead these groups for our community. Okay, so we'll move now into our services updates, starting with digital repository hosting. Couple of things here. Our DSpace Entities pilot project is continuing this month after a brief hiatus for other work. And this a very small pilot consisting of some TDL staff and some staff at UT San Antonio who are investigating new DSpace Entities functionality for a limited set of use cases, namely the creation of author profiles in DSpace that would link authors to publications in the repository. So we'll have an update on the status of this project at our January DSpace Users Group meeting, which I failed to put on this slide, but it's on January 27th at 3 p.m. And we'll put a link to that meeting info in chat. Secondly, we're currently awaiting the imminent release of version 8.1 of DSpace in order to schedule out and conduct upgrades of all of our hosted DSpace repositories this spring. DSpace 8 will have some bug fixes and accessibility fixes and a few new features, but it will not be a wholesale change to the user interface like we experienced when we moved from version 6 to version 7. Again, we'll be continuing to update the DSpace community at our DSpace Users Group meeting on the 27th. And finally, a bit of news you may have heard coming out of the Global DSpace Open Source Program that the DSpace Leadership Group, on which TDL has a seat and a vote, has approved a measure to investigate a potential merger of DSpace and DSpace CRIS. For those who may not be aware, DSpace CRIS is an open source extension of DSpace developed for the current research information system use case. And it's built with the DSpace IR code base as its core, but it broadens DSpace functionality. And it's different enough from kind of plain, quote unquote, plain DSpace to be a separate open source project. So the leaders of these two projects want to investigate the potential for merging the code bases, which would expand DSpace's current functionality and also reduce a lot of duplication of effort in software development since we'd expand the development capacity for DSpace. this is not happening imminent. It's not happening for sure at all. We've got two groups formed to investigate and plan for a potential merger, one focused on strategy and governance, the other focused on the technology and merging the code bases. Um, there's a lot more detail in an announcement that went out to the DSpace community list, and we'll put a link to that announcement in chat so you can learn more. And I'm happy to answer any questions. We've been discussing this in the DSpace users group meeting, and we'll continue to do so as well as this investigative process continues. Okay, next up, an update for our journal hosting service. Um, the main update here is that we're convening a working group this month to create and disseminate a web accessibility toolkit for managers and editors of TDL hosted journals. This is part of an organization-wide effort here at TDL to help our members and users get into compliance with the new ADA Title II rule for web accessibility of platforms and content. So I want to thank the folks listed here, Mark, Alexa, Susan, and Michelle, for agreeing to serve on this working group, which will meet for the first time later this week. And then the full OJS users group will meet next on February 6th. Okay, and my last service update before passing the mic to Courtney, a couple of items from our OER support services and the OER users group. Many of you probably are aware that Open Education Week is happening later in the spring, March 3rd through 7th. And we know many member institutions are hosting or participating in events and other programming during this week to promote open educational resources. We want to help amplify those programs and announcements ahead of or during that Open Education Week. TDL will be promoting member events and announcements via social media, but also in a blog post on the website and in our February newsletter. So we will post a link in chat to a submission form where you can let us know any info about anything you're participating in that you'd like us to promote, as well as the channels through which it will be promoted if you know that, so that we can help repost, amplify, and share that information through our social media channels. We're also going to share this information across the OER users group so that our members can help cross-promote each other's events and use the power of the community to get the word out to as many people as possible. The deadline for inclusion in the February newsletter is Monday, February 3rd, but we will be promoting through other channels besides the newsletter. So if something you want to share comes after February 3rd, definitely still let us know about it. And a couple of other OER notes before I hand it off. Big congrats to Jennifer Pate, Director of Open Education at Texas A&M Libraries, on becoming a new member of the Open Education Network Steering Committee. It's awesome to have a TDL member represented there. And a reminder of our next OER users group meeting, which will be February 11th at 3 p.m. I think that's it for me. I'm going to hand it off to Courtney to continue our updates.
Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. I'm going to start with DPLA. So the TexHub DPLA harvest for January 2026 is currently underway and will be wrapping up by the end of the month. DPLA has also just recently announced that they have $250,000 at least in grant funding available for projects in the coming year, all of which is focused on strengthening and accelerating the work of the DPLA network. There will be separate programs to support the work of existing network partners and fund new partnerships. They're looking particularly at projects that help partners get collections into DPLA, so for instance, harvesting tools. And they're also looking for projects that improve discovery of DPLA collections, things like curation projects, projects around using Wikimedia. They want to convene the committee to review the grants by the end of the first quarter, and then the projects will start being funded in the last quarter of 2025. Additionally, DPLA is returning to their annual DPLA Fest, and they plan to hold one this fall, in the fall of 2025. They're seeking planning committee members for that conference, and they're also asking for volunteers for managing the grant process for those two grant funds. So we'll share a link here in chat where you can register your interest in volunteering for either of those things. We'd love to have any of our partners involved. Next up, just a quick update on Vireo. Frank Smutniak, our lead developer, is working to complete the final TDL member migration into Vireo 4. This will lay a foundation for sustainable maintenance and crucial refinements during further development cycles later in the year, which we're excited to update you on later. Next up, quick digital preservation interest group update and other digital preservation updates. So the Digital Preservation Interest Group meets for the first time this year, this Thursday at 2 p.m. So I look forward to seeing some of you there, and I'll send out an email reminder later today to the group as well. We have also launched the Digital Preservation Peer Assessment, led by Kristen Clark of TWU. The goal of the pilot is to support UTSA and Sam Houston State University as they assess their digital programs. Kristen will lead the pilot partners through a series of assessment resources and interviews with each other to help them develop longer-term program goals, as well as more immediate strategic objectives with timelines, stakeholders, risks, and resource allocations. Ultimately, TDL aims to establish an assessment process that is reproducible, with the participants this time around becoming peer guides for future assessment partners. We're really excited about this. Next up, the Texas Data Repository update. TDL's Frank Smutniak and Nick Lawland will commence the annual Texas Data Repository upgrade this month, aiming to continue and complete it in February. We are very grateful, especially to the TDR Steering Committee's subgroup for its recommendations about features to add and enable. Thank you. So next we'll move into our community updates with our outreach coordinator, Kiara Hunt.
Thanks, Courtney. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to share some community updates with you all. So first up, there is still time to submit your TCDL 2025 proposals through Sunday, February 23rd. The TCDL Planning Committee is hosting a virtual co-working session on Wednesday, February 12th at 1 p.m. And this is the perfect time for you all to bring all of your TCDL proposal questions and to connect with each other and other presenters to see if there's some alignment in some of your topics for proposals. So we will share some links in the chat for you all to have more information. And speaking of TCDL proposals, we invite you to submit your workshop proposals for our Day 1 pre-conference sessions held on Tuesday, May 20th. Though the submission deadline for all TCDL proposals is February 23rd, the workshop proposals receive priority review. Accepted presenters will be offered free workshop registration. And if you have any questions about workshops, please let us know at info@tdl.org, and we'll share more links in the chat for more details. Next, a reminder to submit your nominations for the TDL Awards. Each year at TCDL, we honor Texas-based individuals and groups that have made outstanding contributions to the advancement of digital libraries, broadly defined. If you or someone you know or a team at your institution has been doing awesome work in the past year or for many years, please consider nominating them. Nominations are due February 10th, and we'll include a link in the chat where you can learn more about each award. Next, the TCDL 2025 volunteer application is now open. You can see the link in the chat that has more information for our FAQ session, just to have more details about what volunteers will be doing at TCDL. The deadline to sign up is Sunday, March 30th. And if you have any questions, please email us at info@tdl.org. And we hope that you'll share with your institutions at networks, and you can see more information about volunteers in our social media next week. Lastly, we're happy to share that this year, TCDL will hold a book and donation drive to benefit the Inside Books Project. Just a little more information about Inside Books. Each year, the Inside Books Project sends more than 30,000 free books to people in Texas prisons. The Inside Books Project is the only books to prisons program in Texas where more than 120,000 people are behind bars. Inside Books Project works to promote reading, literacy, and education among incarcerated individuals and to educate the general public on issues of incarceration. And we'll share more information about Inside Books Project in the link in the chat. And we'll also have more details about what types of books are most in need. Okay, next up, we have some upcoming meetings and events happening at TDL. Some of them have been mentioned already. So first up, we have Thursday, January 16th at 2 p.m., the Digital Preservation Interest Group. On Friday, January 24th at 2 p.m., we have the GIS Interest Group meeting. On Monday, January 27th at 3 p.m., we have the DSpace Users Group. And on Tuesday, January 28th at 1 p.m., we have the Harmful Content and Description Interest Group, their very first meeting. And on Thursday, January 30th at 2 p.m., we have the Imaging Group meeting. And you can check out all of our upcoming meetings at tdl.org/events. And we'll also include a link in the chat for our February What's Happening at TDL. Okay, as always, you can check out the latest TDL updates for upcoming meetings, events, and programs on our social media channels, bi-monthly TDL update newsletter, and a TDL announced listserv. And we'll share the link in the chat that has our Get Involved page where you can find all the places you can connect with TDL. And if you would like to contribute news, announcements, and project updates or other content to an upcoming issue of TDL Update newsletter, we would like to hear from you. Please email us at info@tdl.org with your ideas. And that's all for community updates and upcoming events. Thanks, everyone. Back over to you, Christy.
All right. Thanks, Kira. We do have time for questions, a little bit of time. If anybody has any, you can put those in chat, or if you want to raise your hand, we can call on you and ask you to unmute. And if you would prefer, you can use our anonymous feedback form, which is linked to here, to ask a question or make comments anonymously. I'll pause for just a moment to see if anybody has any questions. And of course, if you have questions afterwards and want to get in touch with us individually or through our info@tdl.org email, you are more than welcome to do that too. We'd love to hear from you. I really appreciate all the updates that Kiara and Courtney shared today. Thank you, and appreciate all of you being here with us today. Looking forward to a great 2025 with all of you, and just want to wish you um, a good holiday weekend coming up, and hope everybody has a good, safe, and sane year ahead. Looking forward to working with all of you. Y'all take care.